Hey everyone, in today's video, I'll be simplifying Soldier as much as I can with the goal of making him, and honestly Overwatch in general, as easy to understand as possible. To give a little history, when I was still in RUA, one of the last things my coach taught me was to simplify everything I knew. He condensed everything into a short saying, comfortable angles, where you can shoot non-stop, and get a lot of kills. If you notice, it encapsulates all the fundamentals of Overwatch. If you don't know what these fundamentals are, I would suggest watching my first video to get a better understanding of them. But you can see that my coach is a genius with the way he put everything together. Love you, by the way. Now let's break down what everything means, starting with comfortable angles. For an angle to be comfortable, it needs to have two things, safety and visibility. Let's expand on safety first. The two most essential fundamentals for a safe angle is cover and distance. Cover is any indestructible structure that comes from the map. Most people refer to this as natural cover. You want to prioritize large pieces of cover like a wall, because in case you're in danger of dying, you can hide your entire body from the enemies. Something you should keep in mind for cover, and honestly just your general safety, is to play on the edges of the map. The edge of the map is just any area that is outside the path of the objective. So in this case, for escort and push, it'd be outside this road, and on control maps, it'd just be outside the capture point. Notice that when I'm on this road, there's essentially no cover here. And no, the barricades don't count because they can be moved, it's not really reliable cover. But now, if we instead go outside of this road, we're on the edge of the map now, and notice, just a lot of cover. Cover. There's just all the covers here on the edge of the map. Even here, this technically the edge, the cover is right over here. So that's where I'm going to play. I also mentioned general safety just because naturally, the enemies, if they're over here, they're just going to be looking at the objective since they want to push it to win the game. And if you're standing over here, you're going to be caught in the crossfire and take a lot of spam damage. So that's why it's very important to just play on the edge of the map for your own safety. For distance, as Soldier, you want to keep a mid-range or medium range, whatever you want to call it, because this distance is where you're far enough away to not die, but close enough to deal maximum damage and also not suffer from damage fall off. Oh, and it also make your helix easier to land. Now, I don't want to give an exact distance as to what is mid-range exactly because I don't want you guys to overthink it. But from this wall to about the push spot, this is about mid-range. This is what you should be trying to aim for. Your cooldowns, specifically just healing station, will help you stay in an angle for longer just because of the extra healing. The enemies aren't just going to let you stay in that angle forever though. They're going to shoot you back. This is when the angle starts to get spicy. That's what I like to call it, at least you could call it whatever you want. That's your indicator to rotate away from the danger. A lot of players struggle with this step though because they misinterpret what the danger actually is and then leave early. You know, if only there was someone experienced enough that can give you free VOD reviews to help you figure it out. Twitch TV Gems First 89. So that's everything that makes an angle safe. Now let's talk visibility. Because the more we can see, the more we can do. So with visibility, you're going to open up the angle first, which in simple terms just means going left and right. The reason we do this is so we can maintain our distance. Let's say there's someone behind this wall over here. So now if I want to go to them walking normally, forward. Now, technically I would be able to see them, but the problem is now it's just too close for me. I've just lost my distance and now I'm in danger of dying, which doesn't make me super comfortable at all. Now, if we instead try and focus on moving more left and right, and just a little bit forward, I would be able to see the enemy, but now I've maintained my distance and I feel super safe now. You also want to have open sights. You'll find that the more open an area is, the more sight lines you'll have, which means that the more options you'll have. I made a rhyme to help make it easier to remember all of this. Cover, distance, left and rights, and open sights. Say it as much as you want and as fast as you want. There's something small that players don't even realize, but it really limits the comfortability of an angle. And those are doorways. Yep. Doorways. Now, doorways aren't an issue when you're right up against them and also on either side of the frame. The problem comes when you start moving back and more towards the middle of it. Notice that when I'm distanced from my doorway, my visibility is limited to this tiny rectangle, which means I'm not really going to get anything done because my options are also limited. It also threatens your safety because it makes you a lot easier to hit. Editing gem is yours. Show the enemy's perspective. Thank you. Alright, when you're standing in the middle of the doorway, understand why it makes you a really easy target to hit. The only thing the enemies have to do is aim in the middle of it. It's an easy headshot for characters like Curie or Hanzo, but in general, for all characters, it makes aiming and landing their shots easier for them because there's a smaller area to work with. and the higher you climb, the more they'll take advantage of it. It's fine to use a doorway to off-angle to distract the enemies, but once they look at you, you need to move away immediately because of the things I mentioned that make a doorway uncomfortable. You know, since we're in a closed room, I might as well just tell you this, so consider it like a little extra tip. But man, you do not want to fight a Junkrat in a closed room. He can like shoot his projectiles, ricochet off the wall, basically like never miss. He can boop you across and make the shots easier for him to land since you won't be flying. You'll just like hit something. You know, it's also like small little areas, so he doesn't really have to aim as much. He can close the distance really easy. It's just not favorable at all. Same thing can apply for like Doom or Venture as well. Characters like those. So if you are ever caught in like a closed room with them, just leave. Honestly, don't take that fight. It's just unfair for you. The final aspect of good comfortability is to have all the enemies in front of you. Having all the enemies in front of you makes it so you don't have to do a lot of large mouse movements to shoot individual enemies. I don't mean that you need to see all 5 of them on your screen at all times. That's unrealistic. But make a guess on where they are. With this angle, let's say the enemies are here, and someone like a Tracer is over there. Now, technically, even though I can't see some of them because of the cover, they're all still within my screen, so my mouse movements look like this. The reason you want this is number 1, the comfortability, since you don't have to move your mouse around that much. But number 2, it's going to be really hard for the enemies to surprise you, considering that you'll be able to see it before it happens. Orion throwing a fire strike, I'm going to see him do the animation then go behind cover before the fire strike even comes close to me. And Anna throwing a sleep, I'm going to see that thing coming and use cover before it even hits me. That Tracer I mentioned over there, there's no way she's going to get to me without me seeing her. Unless she does a really long rotation, but I don't see why she would. Now let's say I was over there instead. In this angle, the enemies are still in the same place I mentioned, being there, and here. The problem is that I have to move my mouse a whole lot more now, and even if I do want to shoot one enemy, my back is turned against the others, and they can attack me while I'm occupied. To wrap it up with this one, I want to clarify that you won't be able to do this 100% of the time, just because of the nature of Overwatch, so don't be disappointed because of it. I like to think of it in phases. When the fight is first starting, you do it, but as it progresses, it matters less. Now that we've established comfortable angles, we can move on to the next part of the saying, where you can shoot non-stop. That's what we call uptime. With you having safety because of your cover and your distance, and also being able to see the enemies clearly, means that you should see and or hear that gun constantly shooting. Shooting non-stop isn't solely about uptime though, but also your rotations, specifically with keeping them short but meaningful. You can't be taking long rotations like this while the fighting is happening because you're essentially as good as dead with the downtime you have. Instead, keep your rotations short, under 4 or less seconds maximum to achieve high, yet meaningful uptime throughout the teamfight. If you do want to make a long rotation like the one we made previously, break it up into smaller 4 or less second rotations like this. When we're shooting a lot, we need to get a lot of kills, otherwise we're doing something wrong. The fundamentals that help us get kills are off angles, target priority, and cooldowns. Off angles are just a separate point of pressure from your team to make your damage a lot more meaningful, and target priority is about shooting the target that gives the most value to you and your team. I would recommend watching my first video because I explained it in a lot more detail there. With cooldowns, specifically your Helix rocket, you need to make sure you're using this as frequently as possible and also trying to use it as your first attack. The reason why is because by the time the enemies have any realization you just shot them, half their health is already gone and you'll probably kill them before they even get to react. Rotations also contribute to this, whether you're rotating to an off angle or just switching your angles to get the element of surprise. Oh, thanks, awkward. Okay, that's everything you need to know about Soldier. But by the way, this video can work for any other ranged character that deals consistent damage, such as Ashe, Cass, Bastion, Freya, Hanzo, Soj, Torb, Widow, Ana, Bap, Punished from our rivals, Alari, Juno, Wu Yang, and Zen. Obviously, not everything's gonna be a full one-to-one to everything I mentioned. Like, you wouldn't want to play Ana at the same range Soldier does at all times. You'd preferably want to keep some extra distance. But a lot of the concepts and explanations I gave in this video are applicable to all of them. So send this video to a friend who might need it, even if they don't play Soldier. A reminder that I do free VODs on Twitch, so feel free to check me out there. I only do it for Soldier though.